Grammar School, Rawalpindi. She's Center for Peace and Education for Sustainable Development, and is also international master trainer. I'm also joined by Mr. Murtaza Noor, who is the national coordinator, Inter-University Consortium for Promotion of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts. It's an inter-university alliance of almost 60 universities across Pakistan, and also country coordinator for Global Academics Leadership Academy in Pakistan. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me first share that my question to all the panelists would be about how the technology can boost girls' education in Pakistan and what are the challenges that Pakistan is facing. So, before I begin, I would like to request Mr. Umar Faruqi, who is the CEO and founder Coded Minds Global and Hope Academy Global as well, to share his insight. But before I hand over the floor to you, let me share with you brief introduction about him. Omar Saab is a Saudi national, is an entrepreneur, is an investor and a startup enthusiast. He is a former investment banker as well, and his aim and vision is to disrupt the education industry from ground up, not just through the pedagogy, but also price this his vision through merging public and private sector education. And because of that, he has developed this Coded Minds International. Omar Saab has a long history and 2 decades of experience on working in various sectors, ventures, and including. He was also the Mutual Minds board of Saudi Francis Capital for several years. He was part of different venture capitalism, and then, of course, during his conversation, we will also be hear from him about Coded Minds, about Hope Academy that he's currently leading. And I'm so honored that IPDS has recently signed agreement of cooperation with Coded Minds as well. And I'm honored that we'll continue building not only his vision, but of course, from his vision, building the future of people and young minds of Pakistan. So, Umar Faruqi sir, floor is all yours. I would really like to know about your own insights, not only insight, but of course your own vision about how important is for Coded Mind to build girls' education in Pakistan and your own drive of helping girls and women across Pakistan as well. So, floor is all yours, Faruqi sir.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Farah, for the opportunity. First of all, yes, I'm so glad to join hands with your organization. I believe that in this day and age, collaborations is what takes things forward. Positive collaborations is what is going to change and bring change in society and in country. It's not a one-person job. Unfortunately, I wish it was. If it's not, we need to join hands together, and everyone needs to move towards the same goal. So with that said, again, I'd like to thank everyone for who's on this panel. It's an honor. It's my honor to meet every one of you. Girls' education. If we look at girls' education, first of all, forget about technology. Let's look at female education or girls' education. You know, it's not just a Pakistan issue. It's obviously it's still a global issue. We keep going on about giving Pakistan a hard time, or at least the world gives Pakistan a hard time. It's actually a global issue, including in the Western world, right? But we are here as citizens of the country, as patriots of the country, people who are interested to make a change in humanity and society. So we're looking at Pakistan over here. Otherwise, this could be a panel on Africa or any other country. It would be exactly the same discussion going on there as well. I can tell you this because we are in 6 countries as Coded Minds. We're live, we're operational in 6 countries, and the issues are same almost everywhere where we see. So, with that said, I mean, if you look at the literacy rate of girls in Pakistan, girls' education in Pakistan, that is obviously from a statistical perspective or from an official statistical perspective, it still stands as below 50%. That is obviously extremely low. Then, if you look at the digital penetration in Pakistan, right? Digital penetration in Pakistan still is only about 20% at best. It's still not be all over Pakistan, right? So these are some just general issues that are still there in society, still there in the country that need to be taken care of, that need to be sorted out. And for that, public-private partnerships, I mean, something I really advocate a lot for. And in order to go, make change in these countries, we need to really form these public-private forums and partnerships, and then move forward, because it is the private enterprises, um, inshallah, such as Coded Minds, or other schools, private schools even, and people and NGOs who can really be flexible and move quicker than government organizations. As possible, which is why a public-private forum is very, very important. And so, with that said, our own drive and ambition, and just as an FYI, Coded Minds globally is 80% females as employees. 80%, right? And it was not because I chose 80 female staff or something. It is nature. It is by design of nature that they have been at the forefront of coded minds around the world, running in leadership positions in different parts of our world, including Pakistan. Even teachers, if you look at our teachers of our Hope Academy platform, Hope Academy, which itself is a movement, it is 80% of them are female teachers, and they're doing a remarkable job. So there clearly is something there to tap into as a talent pool, right? It's not something just said and done. And so, if we can empower them, give them the tools, what tools? Give them technical and technological tools, right? Get them, and technological doesn't necessarily have to be, you don't have to jump a quantum leap and say, okay, look, it has to be artificial intelligence run. No, it can even be low tech to start with. Low tech can just be like this Zoom call. We're all on a Zoom call. Zoom call is actually a low technology. It's not even a high technology, right? But it works, right? Or, for example, recently in Pakistan, there's a start of the tele-education channel, right? That it's a good initiative to begin with. At least it is getting to the masses, right? At least it is getting everywhere, right? There are other countries who don't even have that, for example, right? So let's say the positives that are positives, but constructively find a way to help technology get to the remote areas, get to the household, every single household in main cities, in rural areas across Pakistan, and that is when you're really going to see a change. Now, obviously, from a technology point of view, we had a conversation with I think the IT minister several weeks ago of Pakistan. We always talk about 5G coming to the world, right? When that also happens on its own, that will be a game changer for the whole world, right? In terms of a reach, in terms of reaching small corners, 5G will enable internet and Wi-Fi and all that to be everywhere, right? You will not need to have that much presence. So all these things are coming to the world, coming to the country. We have to be ambassadors as well as we have to be platforms that enable that. And so, our own platform, for example, we look at various segments. We look at various education classes. For example, we have adult education, we have primary education, we have secondary education, and all of it of how it is taught to girls, for example, and how things are. You're trying to change mindsets, which is very important. You're also, when you say girls, you're also changing parental mindsets. That is super important, because ultimately in our society, parents make a lot of the decisions for the young children, right? And so you have got to change their mindsets as well. So it is a psychological battle, not just a technological battle, right? So all of these must go hand in hand when we are to bring real change and bring transformative change in the country. And transformative change can only happen if revolution of sort happens, right? And revolution of sort only happens if you disrupt what is the norm. And the norm of for example, I'll give you a small example. We had an example of in our Hope Academy, right? We had one family, for example, who had multiple children in different grades. They had two girls and three boys in the same family, but they only had one laptop, right? And that one laptop was given to the boys. It was not given to the girls to do their grades, right? So on what basis is that happening? You see, so that's not a technological issue. That is a society. So everything has to be put together in one. I don't think one can lead across. I mean, yes, we can do our bit and we can give, um, do our part and bring technology, bring our methodology, our pedagogy to the masses. And I'm talking genuinely to the masses. How do you do that? You also do that through affordability. A lot of around the world, I won't say just Pakistan, I think around the world as well, think that if they adopt technology or laptops or iPads or tablets, that means they can charge high fees. You don't need to charge high fees. Everything at a mass level is it's all about affordability. Even technologically speaking, if you look at the masses, once technology is divided amongst masses, it becomes affordable to the organization, I should say, from an operational perspective. And being an ex-investment banker, being an ex private equity person around the world, I have looked at the cash flows of this. That's why I've taken this leap of faith myself three years ago to change this world, because I know how the mathematics works of this, and that's why I'm so confident of the change. But again, I don't think we can do it by ourselves. We need organizations like yourselves. We need the people on this panel. We need schools to be on board with us. It's a movement. So let's do bring about it that way.
Thank you so much, Omar Saab, for wonderful conversation. I think it's a tipping point, it's a beginning of a lot of wonderful conversation that we are looking
Yeah.
forward to, and I hope that we'll continue our conversation. I was thinking also while you were speaking and saying that why not we invite technologists to a company who is heading, I mean, who are working in Pakistan, for example, Telenor, Jazz, and many others who are not only having a lot of business in Pakistan, but they also can provide assistance in their CSR, and how important it is for them as well to collaborate with institutions like ours when we are building on and work with the communities, in fact, and especially in these times are providing us a lot of hope, a lot of opportunities that we can build on. And you're so right in saying that this is just a beginning of a lot of wonderful conversation that we all need to do. So there's a lot of insight is coming from different pages of ours where we have just shared our live conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Those who want to ask questions from the panel, you are free to ask. If you want to collaborate, you want to say something, do share the questions as well, because our worthy panel will continue having these kind of conversation in future as well. And there's a question that what is Institute of Peace and Diplomatic Studies? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Institute of Peace and Diplomatic Studies is Pakistan's premier. We call ourselves Think and Do Tank. It's not think tank only. We call ourselves that we also think, but we also act as well. So we primarily focus on public diplomacy. We primarily focusing on connecting people with the international community and providing them, a lot of synergies in areas related to women, peace and development, women, education, of course, is our forte, and working with the different partners in Pakistan is our prime, uh, is our prime. Work. Before any delay, I would like to request my other worthy panelist, Professor Dr. Rafi Azam Saab, who is the Pro-Rector, University of Lahore, and former Vice Chancellor, University of Education, Lahore, to share his views about why it is important for girls to, uh, for the education of girls and using the technology for educating girls. And as we were seeing that Pakistan has been described as one of the worst performing countries. I'm so sorry for saying this, but worst performing country in the education sector. And of course, there is a lot of girls who are out of schools right now, and how can we utilize these challenging times that we are today in helping our girls to get broader opportunities to get education and understanding, not only education but skills of the future as well. So floor is all yours, Dr. Rafi Azam sir. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Farad. You people are doing a great job by hosting such seminars and such webinars and generating a powerful, valuable discourse about many different policy issues in the country. And it's pleasure for me to be on this panel about the use of technology or the advantages of technology in girls' education. Technology, particularly the information technology that we have today, is a great equalizer, is a great enabler, and particularly for the disadvantaged populations, whether these are whether it is the female population or the population that has lesser economic resources, or in any other meanings of the disadvantages that there are. Education is not the scenario around education is not as bad as many of us know. If you look at the universities in this country, we have a majority of the students that belong to the female gender. In most of the universities, the ratio is now about 60-40, 60% women and 40% men. And then we have a good number of universities which are exclusively catering to the women population. So at universities, women are not in a disadvantaged position. They are beating men in many different ways. The more problematic position is the work environment. You don't have many women in the work environment, in the workforce. So that is perhaps where we need to focus more, and we need to work with the families. We need to work with the parents of women, husbands of women, to allow them and to encourage them to join the workforce. And I think that is where the technology can even assist them further. The reasons why women do not join the workforce are not good travel facilities, not safe work environments, and there are several other issues that create this disadvantage. Also, the commuting time to workplaces, going and coming back to the workplaces is quite a burden. So technology in those areas can come handy and can assist more to the women and can encourage them to join the workforce. COVID situation has exposed us to this challenge of adopting technology, and this came very suddenly. You might be hearing a very healthy debate around the online education that is taking place and that universities and schools, colleges are struggling with. The biggest problem that we are facing in the adoption of technology is not because of unavailability of technology, but it is about the infrastructure of information technology. We have recently conducted a survey with a large number of students who are exposed to the online education and who are exposed to a forced adoption of technology because of the prevailing situation. And the biggest problem, a biggest hurdle that they have reported is the lack of infrastructure. The people living in smaller towns, the people living in far-off areas, the people living in rural communities, the internet availability is not something that they can rely on. So bad quality of internet, low coverage, those are the issues that are. So the earlier mentioned by yourself about involvement of telcos and infrastructure providing companies into this conversation is, I think, something that we need to do. We heard about some discussions taking place under the leadership of Higher Education Commission, whereby the chairman Higher Education Commission called the CEOs of those telcos and had asked them to provide infrastructural facilities to the disadvantaged students, whether they are men or women. but it hasn't worked out. Neither they have lowered the prices, nor they have expanded any connectivity services to the places where there are troubles. So in summary, I think technology is a very big enabler, is a very big equalizer between the disadvantaged communities, whether they are disadvantaged by gender or economic conditions or by any other conditions. And more than in education, I think the adoption of work from home culture will be a big enabler for the women, will be a big empowering, source for the women. And we should bring in structure providers, whether they are governmental institutions or whether they are private institutions. We need to ensure a sustainable, fail-proof IT infrastructure that can bring in more people to those levels where they can be a useful and productive part of the workforce.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rauf Azam Saab. I think that a lot of people who are just join us, बहुत सारे लोग जो हमें सुन रहे हैं, we can also talk in Urdu as well, because there are a lot of people who might be listening to us right now, and those who just join us. We are just talking about and having a worthy panelist on how technology can boost girls' education in Pakistan. यानी टेक्नोलॉजी के जरिए, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के जरिए और इंटरनेट के जरिए हम खवातीन लड़कियों की जो तालीम है पाकिस्तान में किस तरह से ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं. मेरा ख्याल है और हमारा ये ख्याल है, हमारे पैनलिस्ट भी यही दोहरा रहे हैं बार बार कि जो हम इस चैलेंजिंग टाइम में, इस मुश्किल वक्त में हैं, हमें इस मुश्किल वक्त को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से यूटिलाइज करके वो खवातीन, वो लड़कियां जो कि तालीम किसी वजह से नहीं हासिल कर सकती, कोई कल्चर बैरियर्स हैं, मुश्किल हैं, बाहर नहीं जा सकती, उनको कोई थ्रेट्स हैं या फेस कर रहे हैं, उन सब के लिए ये हमारे लिए आसानी है कि हम ये जो टाइम है ये इफेक्टिवली यूटिलाइज करें और ख़वातीन को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जो है वो एजुकेशन, तालीम की तरफ और स्किल्स की तरफ लेके जाएं. आई एम सो ऑनर्ड दैट मिसेस नसरीन इकबाल, who is the Executive Director of Grammar School, Rawalpindi, Center for Peace and Education for Sustainable Development, International Master Trainer as well. She's with us. The floor is all yours, Nasreen Iqbal Saiba. And of course, your own experience of working with girls, working with institutions, building institutions, working with the faculty members, with those who are training, giving, trainers, of course, I will call them. और उनके साथ काम करने में, और स्पेशली आजकल के दौर में जब हम इस तरह का चैलेंज फेस कर रहे हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे लिए कितना ज़्यादा फ़ायदा देगी. और जो ख़वातीन अभी तक कोई स्किल हासिल नहीं कर सकी, या गर्ल्स जो है, जो लड़कियां तालीम हासिल नहीं कर सकती हैं, और बहुत सारी लड़कियां पाकिस्तान में घरों स्कूलों से बाहर हैं, तालीम की तरफ नहीं जा सकी, तो हम कैसा एक रेवोल्यूशन ला सकते हैं. फ्लोर इज ऑल योर्स, आपका डिस्कशन, एंड देन आई विल बी asking you a lot of different questions from the panelists as well. Mrs. Nasreen Iqbal, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Farah. Well, I'm very pleased that I've been able to join this august gathering of panelists, the young people with so much new information, new skills, and so on. Now, greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I come from an institution where, along with academics, peace education is an integral part, peace building. Now, what we're doing today is also, thankfully, part of peace building. When we will empower the girls through technology and provide them better education and access, this is peace building. What actually the earlier panelists have spoken about, especially Mr. Faruqi, and he has covered, I think, most of the facets of technology and how it's going to help in access, how it's going to help in generally improving standards and getting everybody together. But what I am very pleased to say is that collaboration today is equally important as technology, because all of us in our own fields and our own experiences, if we can collaborate with organizations like yours, we will certainly be able to make a platform where our outreach would be far more, and we would be able to benefit. बहुत लोगों को हम मुस्तफीद कर सकेंगे, लोगों को नहीं, organizations को, and then this does not have any borders. Now, everybody will be talking from their point of view, but as I am from a school system, I'll be talking about that. But I have to point out one thing, Farad. We're talking about gender and we're talking about providing the girls with technology. You did not consider having a gender parity in the panelists. What do you say to that? Anyway, that is just, and then just to make a light comment. Anyway. Now I'm going to talk about the experience of which I've had at my personal level, which is now I have been a teacher, a principal, and I've been training, I've received training, and I'm now a master trainer also of education and peace education in particular. Now, when let me fast forward to this period now when it's become mandatory to use technology because of, we all know what we have to look at. There is no doubt IT today will act as an equalizer and as a stabilizer. But let me tell you, now our school, although it's internationally recognized and we are UNESCO's flagship school in Pakistan and a lead school in the world, but we cater to children from middle and low middle class, and we have a lot of teachers who had hardly any, IT skills just to do a bit of research and all that. So for us in the school now, we've been pushed into the digital age. So this has been the silver lining of this pandemic. Shurumit, all of them, they were so hesitant. They said, "Oh, you don't want us to continue the school." But then they gradually managed to receive training from the IT teachers, from the peers and the younger teachers in particular. While the older ones, let me tell you, their skills were far better, their education background was far better, but they did not have the IT skills. And here what I want to point out is that although we have so many universities now, and 60% of the girls are there, the girls are in those universities, 60% female, but unfortunately, the quality is really substandard. And what we have to work is, as when we are providing access, we've got to ensure that there is quality as well. What is the point, I insist, on opening all these universities when there are no good teachers? Basically, it's the teachers who will help. When I talk about this, let me tell you that I am also on the board of trustees of Development and Literacy, DIL. Now, DIL is an organization second to TCF. TCF, everybody knows about, and done a wonderful job. And as the school, we initially used to train them, and we've been associated with TCF, and they are doing, I think, such a phenomenal job in Pakistan. But now let me tell you about DIL, because I am one of the oldest members on the board of trustees, and I'm also on the education board. That they were one of the first ones who brought in the digital technology. Now they managed to get Fiza, who is their head, and I'm now again talking about his personal experiences, that they managed to get the UNESCO apps, and they had the funding actually for it and so on. And their aim was to provide quality education. Their aim is to deprive children of Pakistan. Mostly they've got it in the remote rural areas and their girls' schools. They started with mobile learning. And what happened is that I would review the standards, how they improved because of this mobile learning. The teachers would watch lessons, and improve their teaching ability. This mobile learning hugely impacted the delivery mechanism of their schools with phenomenal results. So much so that, from one of their schools in the peri-urban areas of Karachi, there's a girl who participated in mainstream the competitions of writing essays, where all the students of Karachi from all the elite school participated, and she got an award and she was selected. I cannot remember her name, but I would be very pleased to share this with you. So if our children, it does not matter what background they come from. Originally, one would think if they have an educated background, they would be able to get a lot of help from there. But no. Now with digital access, and as I hear there's going to be better and better opportunities, as so many organizations, and Mr. Farooqi is so determined that he will also try to see, and he's liaising with the government and all. Now, let me just come to what, as a model, my school has been doing, and which we've been sharing also with a lot of poor schools in our neighboring area. Now, teachers, like I said initially, they were reluctant to learn anything new. After their training and after the help they got from their own peers and from their own children at home, they started walking on the path of technology. And let me tell you, we started all this in April. By end of April, they're all deeply involved. And I tell them, now you are running. And they themselves have hugely benefited, because now the world is open to them. They can get access and information from anywhere to help them design their own lessons. So what's happened is there's been development of digital skills. And with this, where it was very difficult to bring in parents, because they're, like we call this the triangle of the parent, teacher, and school. There were very few who would actually come to the school if there was some help needed, or their assistance was needed. But now those who got smartphones and who got internet, so we've been able to include the community, the parents in particular. And that has been a win-win situation. However, there are quite a few parents and students, naturally thereby students, who do not have access to smartphones, who do not have access to technology. Because as I told you, we have middle and low middle class children coming from this sector. Now, for them, now what do we do to help them? Because for them, the school, even if their parents did not understand what was happening in school and so on, some of them would help the tutor ke paas bhej dete the, who would undo everything which the school had taught them. But now tutors can't come in, children can't get out of the house, whereas the school was also looking, it was after the children for these 5-6 hours. Even that, they're at home. So, like it was said earlier, there are a lot of psychological, there are a lot of traumatic issues. Everybody's going through trauma. And we are getting some assistance from some of our own old colleagues who have opened counseling centers. And very soon we'll be having Zoom sessions for the parents, for the teachers, on how to deal with the situation. So this is a very important aspect of this pandemic. Everybody is going through depression. Everybody is facing a lot of trauma, whether it is just by staying at home, or it is loss of income, or too much on the hands of the mothers. Unfortunately, we know that the fathers will not do anything, and they'll be there to crib more about the food and the noise and all that at home. There are very few fathers who will be helping. Anyway, so we are looking at it, but it's just now the initial, first, we were all trying to grapple with how to reach the students. We were all trying to grapple to reach all the different levels. So right from prep class on to matriculation, and we have a few children at the O levels too. Our teachers are very competently providing very good online lessons. Now, we have also the huge now challenge of no money coming in because fees are not being paid. So how do we handle that? Anyway, we found ways and means of continuing, because even if the parents are not paying their dues, it's not the children's fault. They need this education. They need to be engaged. We tried to make the content taught as simple as possible, and students are guided to make their timetables, not only for while they're on in their classes, online classes, but later on the day too. Activities are suggested which they should do, and then they report. So like this, we are able to reach their homes. We're able to help them, at least to some extent, how to pass the rest of the day, and to take on some responsibility in household chores, in some responsibility in looking after their own home, cleaning up on their mess, and so on. We have also developed interactive performative assessments, which we've got a lot of help online, because a lot is now available. It's all about making an effort to be able to have access to them and using them. Now, what's very exciting, something very exciting which we're doing is we are not sticking only to the curriculum, but we are giving a lot of emphasis on creativity and expression. Because now is an ideal time for us. Normally we have to finish the certain curriculum by a certain time because assessments have to be taken, the same. We cannot, unless the assessment and evaluation system changes at the board level, we've got to follow that. But now we have a very good opportunity. A lot of creative projects have been given. In technology, what's generally advised is to give them, the students, technology-based project, which will help them to improve their basic skills. The SLOs, which we call. SLOs is standing learning outcomes. I don't know why we don't say standing learning outcomes, because a lot of teachers, their eyes go around because they don't understand. And technology-based, now what we've already started, we've worked on it, but what we're working on now is technology-based projects which will help students to think creatively, to be able to collaborate, as opposed to just picking up something, memorizing it and all that. Hands-on activities. We are doing all this through our heritage education program, which nowadays is mostly focuses on the teacher's resource kits, learning in young hands. This was a UNESCO project for which I was taken on as an individual consultant, and I'm very pleased to share this with you that only 5 countries, all the UNESCO, the UN members, wherever UNESCO is, they were advised to prepare this for the students, and I was identified here in Pakistan to write those books. Now, this is about 11 years ago. So we wrote 4 project books, which were on Taxila, Rohtas, Shalimar Gardens, and Mohenjo-daro. And they're all activity-based. We've done a lot of it and shared it locally, nationally, globally, and all that. But now what we're doing is that we will be sharing this on the net for any school to look at and follow. And I think this would be a very good beginning point, Mr. Farooqi, to be able to use it with educational institutions wherever you would like to. Now, this project is very, very exciting because it's about heritage. And now these are outstanding heritage sites of the world, the ones which I have written about. These are UNESCO declared outstanding sites. But when we talk about selecting a heritage site, you can be in a very small area, a local area, and you will have a mazar there, or you will have um, a tomb there, or anything. So let the students there do some research about it. They can find out from their mothers, grandmothers, all the people around them, get some information, even if it's not available on the net, never mind. But they themselves, let them do the research. Now, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for the skills of learning for the 21st century. Communication, collaboration, creativity, and of course, critical thinking, and then comes creativity. Now, in the center of this, there has to be compassion. This is another C which we have added into the 4 C's, skills of learning for the 21st century. Now, this can be done anywhere in the world. Whichever heritage project anyone has, they can collaborate. And this would be engaging, this would be exciting, they will have ownership to it, and they would be using technology, they would be able to share it anywhere. That is what's going to empower them. And that will be education for life.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was such a, yes, you had, I mean, it's wonderful to hear from you always. And thank you so much for these insightful, comments and sharing your own experience of how you are yourself running such an amazing, school and teaching yourself and creating a lot of disruption, as Omar Farooq Saab has also, you are also envisioning. Now, moving on to us from not only schools but universities as well, Murtaza, and talking to you, I would really like, sharing with you and asking you that if we can share that what is happening recently about, about the change that is happening in universities. And ladies and gentlemen, Murtaza Noor Saab is National Coordinator Inter-University Consortium for Promotion of Social Sciences, Pakistan Alliance of 60 universities across Pakistan, and is also a country coordinator of Global Academics Leadership and Academy in Pakistan. So Murtaza, floor is all yours, but I would really like to request you if you can highlight how, this disruption or these challenges to universities creating a lot of not only challenges but also opportunities as well, and how the girls who could not reach to universities, the figures shows that we girls stay in schools for a few years, and after grade 6 almost 59% of the girls leave school because of certain reasons, either they are they're gone on for child marriages or many other issues that we can name and continue talking for the whole day. But as those girls reaching at university especially, और इस तरह के जो हायर एजुकेशन के जो इदारे हैं जहाँ वो पहुंच जाती हैं और पहुंचना चाहती भी हैं, बहुत सारी ऐसी लड़कियां हैं जो बैचलर्स के बाद कुछ करना चाहती हैं, कुछ स्किल हासिल करना चाहती हैं, तो उनके लिए क्या ऐसा रास्ता हम निकाल सकते हैं? और आजकल की यूनिवर्सिटियां स्पेशली पाकिस्तान में ऐसा क्या सोच रही हैं? अगर नहीं सोच रही तो उन्हें क्या करना चाहिए? और मेरा ये ख्याल है कि हम अगर इस कॉन्वर्सेशन को कंटिन्यू रखें एंड मूविंग ऑन टू हायर एजुकेशन स्पेशली, Murtaza, I would really like to have your inputs and comments on that. Floor is all yours, Murtaza sir. You have to unmute yourself. Murtaza, you have to unmute yourself a bit. Unmute करेंगे तो
now yes. I think so you are lit. Yes, जी हो गया, आवाज आ रही है. Thank you very much for extending invitation to be part of this Augustus forum and to be part of very productive discussion on very important topic, and having a lot of you can say audience from Pakistan, I would be more communicating in Urdu so that it would be more interesting and more you can say.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
जहाँ तक हायर एजुकेशन सेक्टर पाकिस्तान का ताल्लुक है, इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में जो HEC रिकग्नाइज्ड यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं उनकी तादाद 213 है, और जिनमें से 10 से ज़्यादा ऐसी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं जो कि स्पेसिफिकली जिनको हम वेमेन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ कहते हैं, और वो फॉर्चुनेटली ना सिर्फ हमारे तमाम प्रोविंशियल हेडक्वार्टर्स में भी हैं, अब बल्कि सियालकोट, फैसलाबाद, इसके अलावा भावलपुर, मुल्तान, या मर्दान में भी आप वहाँ भी आपको ये यूनिवर्सिटी नजर आएगी, पेशावर में भी आपको ये फीमेल यूनिवर्सिटी रहेगी, और इसके अलावा दूसरे भी आपको के वहाँ पे हैं। तो अब यानी, और ये एक और जो बड़ा पॉजिटिव इंडिकेटर है हायर एजुकेशन में, खासतौर पे फीमेल एसेस टू हायर एजुकेशन के हवाले से, जो कि हमारे नीचे जो फिगर्स हैं वो इतनी इंकरेजिंग नहीं है, लेकिन हायर एजुकेशन में हमारे पास इस वक्त टोटल जो इनरोलमेंट है अराउंड अबाउट 2 मिलियन के लगभग इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में, जो कि हमारी एसेस टू हायर एजुकेशन तो बहुत कम है, दैट इज लेस देन 10%, जो कि एज कम्पेयर टू अदर नेबरिंग कंट्रीज, बांग्लादेश, इंडिया, नेपाल, श्रीलंका, साउथ एशिया में हमारी एसेस टू हायर एजुकेशन सबसे कम है। लेकिन पॉजिटिव इंडिकेटर ये है कि इसमें 47% जो हमारी फीमेल पॉपुलेशन है वो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में अपॉर्चुनिटी हासिल कर रही है। दे आर इक्विपिंग देमसेल्फ विद द नॉलेज, लेटेस्ट स्किल्स, ICT स्किल्स, रिक्वायर्ड स्किल्स एंड नॉलेज। लेकिन जहाँ तक इस बात का ताल्लुक है कि कोविड-19 का हायर एजुकेशन के ऊपर क्या इम्पैक्ट हुआ है, स्पेशली जो फीमेल हमारी बच्चियाँ थी वो उनको क्या डिफिकल्टीज आ रही हैं। देखिए, सबसे पहले जब ये कोविड-19 की अनाउंसमेंट हुई तो सबसे पहले जिन यानी कि जिसके ऊपर फोकस किया गया और अर्लीस्ट अनाउंसमेंट आई थी वो यही था कि क्लोजर ऑफ एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस। सबसे पहले उनको क्लोज किया गया और अनाउंसमेंट ये की गई कि आप एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को क्लोज कर दिया जाए, क्योंकि सेफ्टी वाज कंसीडर्ड मोर इम्पोर्टेंट रादर देन द कंटिन्यूएशन ऑफ द स्टडी। तो खास तौर पे कुछ इश्यूज थे, लेकिन हायर एजुकेशन में ये डिसाइड किया गया कि लेट्स थ्रू ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन। और कुछ यूनिवर्सिटी, इसमें मैं आपको एक बात बड़ी अहम है कि अर्लियर दैट कि कोविड-19 से पहले हमारी कोई ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन की पॉलिसी ही नहीं थी। पाकिस्तान कुड नॉट फ्रेम अप यानी ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, इवन के हमारे दूसरे जो कंट्रीज हैं, अब मैं 19 को हमारा एक साउथ एशिया का फोरम हो रहा है, उसमें भी हम यही डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं कि किस तरीके से हम लेसन लर्न कर सकते हैं। तो वो पाकिस्तान के पास तो इसकी कोई पॉलिसी नहीं थी और ना ही हमारी यूनिवर्सिटियाँ इसके लिए तैयार थी, क्योंकि स्टूडेंट जो आते हैं उनको दोबारा फेस टू फेस टीचिंग का हम बताते हैं, कैंपसेस के ऊपर हम उनको ज़्यादा वो करते हैं। इसके हवाले से सिर्फ 2 हमारे पास यूनिवर्सिटीज़ हैं, वो भी आप उसको ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन का नहीं कह सकते, वो आपको अल्टरनेटिव वो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ आर ऑफरिंग दैट, वर्चुअल यूनिवर्सिटी एंड इलामा इकबाल ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी। वो बाकी जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ थी, काफ़ी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ थी जिन्होंने ये ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन स्टार्ट की थी, लेकिन उनको भी क्लोज डाउन कर दिया हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन ने, और उसके बाद फिर वो हमारी कोई पॉलिसी भी नहीं इस पे ऊपर बन सकी। ऑल ऑफ सडन इस एपिडेमिक के बाद जो है यूनिवर्सिटीज़ को ये कहा गया कि आप कंटिन्यू करें। प्राइवेट ये जो सेक्टर यूनिवर्सिटीज़ थी, रऊफ़ी आज़म साहब भी यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, वो ज़्यादा उन्होंने इसमें अच्छा प्रमोट किया। उन्होंने यानी कि जब ये इवन के अनाउंस भी हुआ तो फौरी तौर पर अपने आप कर लिया ऑन मोड के ऊपर, और उनकी इतनी डिसकंटिन्यूएशन नहीं हुई। जहाँ तक था हमारी पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिवर्सिटीज़, उनके पास भी लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम विच इज़ कंसिडर्ड वन ऑफ द कोर के, जिसके तहत ये डिस्टेंस लर्निंग या अल्टरनेटिव टीचिंग या दूसरे आप कह सकते हैं ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन के का टूल इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं। वो बहुत सी सिर्फ 80 यूनिवर्सिटी के पास लर्निंग मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम था, बाकी के पास ये भी सिस्टम नहीं था, और ना ही हमारी फैकल्टी इसके लिहाज से कोई ट्रेंड थी, और अभी तक भी काफ़ी इश्यूज आ रहे हैं। लेकिन ये कि विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम अब हमारे पास इसके अलावा कोई ऑप्शन भी नहीं है। और ये जो जहाँ तक फीमेल का बात आती है, तो ये बच्चियाँ हमारी ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम इसलिए फेस कर रही हैं कि मेल स्टूडेंट्स को जब अगर कोई इंटरनेट की कनेक्टिविटी की प्रॉब्लम आती है तो दे कैन मूव फ्रॉम वन विलेज टू अनदर विलेज। खासतौर पर रूरल एरियाज में इश्यूज ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं। हमारी जो बच्चियाँ हैं एज कम्पेयर टू द अर्बन पॉपुलेशन में भी जहाँ पे कनेक्टिविटी के इश्यूज होते हैं, तो वो वहाँ पे सारे ही सफ़र करते हैं, चाहे वो मेल हो चाहे वो फीमेल हो। लेकिन जो फीमेल हमारी पॉपुलेशन है खास रूरल एरियाज में, क्योंकि जैसे कि हमारे वन ऑफ द पैनलिस्ट ने ये इंडिकेट भी किया था कि अगर एक लैपटॉप है तो वो प्रेफर ये किया जाता है कि वो मेल इस्तेमाल करे, और वो बच्ची जो है वो बेचारी फिर भी वो रह जाती है। तो ये जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, इसके अलावा मॉनिटरी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, तो ये भी प्रिवेंट करती हैं बच्चियों को कि वो फुल एडवांटेज नहीं ले सकती ICT का या टेक्नोलॉजी का, या दूसरी जो रिक्वायर्ड स्किल्स होती हैं। تو یہ ہمارے ہائر ایجوکیشن سیکٹر میں ڈسپائٹ دس کہ ہم اس لحاظ سے یونیورسٹیز میں کوئی ڈسکریمنیشن نہیں ہوتی کہ بچیاں یہ سبجیکٹس لے ٹیکنالوجی کا استعمال کریں اور میل کریں، اس طرح کی کوئی وہ نہیں ہوتی کہ، اور وہ اس کو ایکول اپرچونٹی دیا جاتا ہے. ظاہر ہے کہ اسٹوڈنٹ ہے، چاہے وہ میل ہے چاہے فیمیل ہے، دے ہیو بین ٹریٹڈ ایکولی. لیکن خاص طور پہ جو آن لائن ایجوکیشن ہے اس میں بچیوں کو، فیمیل بچیوں کو زیادہ پرابلمز آ رہی ہیں، کیونکہ میل اسٹوڈنٹ جو ہوتے ہیں وہ پھر بھی کسی نہ کسی طریقے سے اپنے آپ کو وہ ایک جگہ پہ گروپ پہ اکٹھے ہو جاتے ہیں، سم ٹائم اور بھی اکٹھے ہو جاتے ہیں. لیکن جب آپ رورل ایریاز میں ہوتی ہیں تو وہاں پہ آپ کو بہت سے کلچرل بھی بیریئرز ہوتے ہیں. یو کانٹ موو آؤٹ سائڈ اگر آپ کو کوئی پرابلم آ رہی ہے تو اس لحاظ سے. تو آئی تھنک سو کہ جو ہماری یہ آن لائن کے ایجوکیشن کے جو ایشوز ہیں اس میں اربن جو ہماری فیمیل ہے اس کو اس لحاظ سے کوئی پرابلمس نہیں ہے ایز سچ. لیکن جو ہماری فیمیل جو رورل ایریاز میں ہے دے آر فیسنگ مور پرابلمس. اور یہ دس از آلسو ویری امپورٹنٹ کہ اب جو ہمارے یونیورسٹی گریجویٹس ہیں وہ وہی کریں گے، وہی یعنی آگے جا سکیں گے، وہی امپلائمنٹ میں جا سکیں گے جن کے پاس یہ آئی سی ٹی اسکلز ہوں گی، ٹیکنالوجی جن کے پاس ہوگی. جن کے پاس ٹیکنالوجی نہیں ہوگی تو وہ دے ول بی فیسنگ مور پرابلمز ان ٹرمز آف دیئر انگیجمنٹ، ان ٹرمز آف دیئر امپلائمنٹ. تو دس از ناؤ ہیز بیکم اسینشیل پارٹ کہ وی وڈ ہیو ٹو کیپ آل دا اسٹوڈنٹس irrespective of their with the technology ICT skills. اور اگر ہم ان کو equip نہیں کریں گے تو they will be facing a lot of problems because this is a new world now. 19 has changed the whole world. اور یہ جو ٹیکنالوجی ڈریون جو آپ کے پاس اسکلز ہوں گی یا اس کے ساتھ آپ کو ہوں گے تو یو کین بی ان اے بیٹر پوزیشن ٹو فائنڈ جابس اور کریٹ یور اون اپرچونیٹیز اسٹارٹ اپس کے طور پہ. اب یعنی ہر چیز ایوری تھنگ از گوئنگ ٹو بی کنورٹیڈ انٹو آن لائن. آن لائن مینس کہ جس کو یہ اسکلز آتی ہیں تو دے کین بی مور ان بیٹر پوزیشن. اب جو یعنی جن کے پاس یہ اسکلز نہیں ہوں گی دے ول بی فیسنگ مور پرابلمس. جی فرق.
Thank you so much Murtaza for enlightening us on important challenges. بہت challenges ہمیں فیس کرنے پڑے ہیں. میرا سوال جو پینلسٹ سے ابھی دوبارہ سے یہ ہوگا اسپیشلی فاروقی صاحب آپ سے بھی اور نسرین صاحبہ اور عوف اعظم صاحب، وہ یہ ہوگا کہ جیسے مرتضیٰ ابھی کہہ رہے تھے کہ جو لیپ ٹاپ ہے یا کوئی بھی اس طرح کا گیجٹ ہے وہ بھائی کے پاس ہوتا ہے. اکثر آپ نے دیکھا ہوگا جب ہم اکثر بچیوں سے سوال کرتے ہیں کہ آپ کا اسائنمنٹ کیوں نہیں ہوا ہے، کام کیوں نہیں ہوا ہے، تو وہ جی اچھا میرے پاس جو لیپ ٹاپ تھا وہ بھائی کا تھا اور میں جو ہے نا میرے پاس نہیں ہے. ایسے وہ اکنامک ڈیفیکلٹیز بھی آپ کے پاس آ رہی ہوتی ہیں، وہ مشکلیں آ رہی ہوتی ہیں، اور آپ جو ہے نا وہ چیز بھی آپ کو ڈسپیرٹی کی وجہ سے آپ ایکسیس آف دوز ٹیکنالوجی گیجٹس آپ کے پاس مشکل ہو رہی ہے. اچھا رورل ایریاز پہ جہاں مرتضیٰ نے ہیں ہم اسے کیسے ریزالو کریں گے؟ ٹیکنالوجی تو جیسے مرتضیٰ کا ابھی جو جہاں سے ہمیں لائیو جوائن کر رہے ہیں کرنٹلی ان میلسی ہے نا مرتضیٰ؟ یو آر کرنٹلی ان میلسی نارتھ سائڈ آف پنجاب رائٹ ناؤ، اور وہاں پہ انٹرنیٹ کی جو ایکسیس ہے اور انٹرنیٹ کی کوالٹی ہے اٹس ناٹ دیٹ گڈ. اور آئی ڈونٹ تھنک سو کہ وہاں پر اسپیسیفکلی اگر ہم نارتھ سائڈ آف پنجاب میں دیکھیں access of internet is that good. So technology gadgets, access to internet, and third is most important, Farooqi Saab, because your own experience working with different similar kind of countries. مطلب پاکستان جیسے آپ بات بھی کر رہے تھے اپنی کانورسیشن میں بھی آپ شیئر کر رہے تھے کہ جو کنٹریز ہیں پاکستان کی طرح، اور آپ کو یوں لگتا ہے اکثر کہ آپ پاکستان کی طرح ہی کی کنٹری سے کام کر رہے ہیں، تو وہاں کا ایکسپیرینس آپ کیسے اپنی کوڈنگ مائنڈ میں لے کے آئیں گے، اور پاکستان کے ساتھ آپ کس طرح سے، کیا آپ نے کوئی اس طرح کی اچیومنٹس بھی حاصل کی ہیں؟ اور نسرین صاحبہ کے ساتھ بھی یہ جو اوور آل ہے کہ ہم یہ کس طرح سے جو ایکسپیرینسز ہیں اور ہمارے جو چیلنجز ہیں ہم ان کو، ابھی تو ہم نے پینل میں کافی سارے چیلنجز ڈیفائن بھی کر لیے ہیں، تو ان چیلنجز کو کہاں ہم ڈسٹرپشن یا ہم چینج لے کے آئیں گے؟ اسپیشلی اگر ہم اس طرح کانورسیشن کنٹینیو رکھتے ہیں تو ہم ٹیکنالوجی جو کمپنیز ہیں ان سے یہ ضرور پوچھیں، اور اسپیشلی گورنمنٹ کے حوالے سے کہ وہ کس طرح سے اس طرح کر رہے ہیں. تو فلور از آل یورز فاروقی صاحب، یور ریسپونڈ آن how the experience is going and how we will be helping this economic disparity that is happening and creating a lot of challenges for the women and girls.
بالکل ایبسلیوٹلی تھینک یو ویری مچ. اینڈ ایکچولی سارے ماشاء اللہ اور سب پینلز نے सबने relevant points किए, सबने very very current points पेश किए and all that, and I think everyone is obviously on the same page. Everyone is wanting to do their bit to make the change. I mean, you have to bring these points to the front before you tackle the problem. So from our perspective, the government of in Azad Kashmir, in the rural areas, in the mountainous region of Pakistan and Azad Kashmir and all that. I mean, we are taking education, whether it's higher education or whether it is primary education, and collaborating with the government, in a public-private partnership forum, and bringing what we have, not just from a technological perspective, but also from a pedagogical perspective. And Nasreen साहिबा ने एक very very interesting and critical बात की थी कि we must teach children by activities or project based learning. ये the old way of methodology of learning, जो हम करते आ रहे हैं, myself, I went through the same systems, I'm sure all of you did, where all we did was memorize and pass exams. That's all we did, right? And then when you passed the exam, you forgot what you learned. So there was no learning, right? So the only way learning ho sakti hai, whether you're a girl, whether you're a boy, right? The only way is for it to stay with you is conceptualization, and that is by doing an activity, right? And that is when you learn the skill. You learn the concept and you learn the skill, right? And second, दूसरी बात ये है कि relevancy of जो academia है, वो I think still around the world, not just in Pakistan, is so outdated. I mean, we learn about algebra and Pythagoras in mathematics, and we learn about scientific formulas and what have you, or periodic table in chemistry. But what do we do on a daily basis, on daily lives with those things? We don't actually need them. So there must be a balance of relevancy, skills that are needed for the 21st century. I mean, today अगर आपके पास स्मार्टफोन है तो आप गूगल से पूछ लें तो आपको हर आंसर मिल जाएगा, basically, right? Because education, because content as a commodity has become very cheap. It's basically become free because it is available now due to artificial intelligence, due to research systems जो भी बन रहे हैं दुनिया में, all that makes content cheap, basically. So what do we do when content is cheap? Basically, the role of the teacher has to change, right? The role of the teacher, जो पहले जमाने का professors का या teachers का classroom में होता था कि ये concepts पढ़ाना, it should not be done anymore. Should be changed. They are still relevant, but their relevancy should be changed by giving them the appropriate skills. अभी आजकल COVID-19 हो रहा है, very unfortunate. But if you look at it in a positive light from a technological perspective, it has fast forwarded. It is a catalyst. It has fast forwarded everyone's need, to adopt technology, use technology in any shape or form, including look at this forum. This is happening on Zoom, right? I'm sitting in another country, right? So it is forced upon us to adopt and adapt how we're going to do it. So iske liye bhi, you need skills. Teachers teaching in a classroom, a live physical classroom, teaching online are two different skills altogether. ये भी आपको skills सिखाने पड़ेंगे teachers को जो कि नहीं आते. Especially the maths teachers or professors, they don't know how to do it. You think it's easy? It's not easy. I've seen it in our own classes. When we do higher education or when we do to primary education, of how the teachers are adapting, it's extremely impossible. I could never do it, right? Because it is skills that are needed for those. Then on top of that, I mean, you mentioned our experience. You asked a question about coded minds experience in other countries. Well, that's exactly the point. We want to bring best of what we have achieved outside, bring it to Pakistan as well, right? And then we hope that with partners such as yourselves, such as government institutions, allow us to do that in the country and allow us to move fast with it, because private enterprises can move fast. It's the public enterprises that take time, but the public enterprises can be the enablers, right? Digitally, they can be an enabler. opening from policy perspective. I mean, I think one of the panelists mentioned about there was no policy until COVID happened, and then we had to fast track that to make it. You know, so and sometimes also we need to be careful. One of the reasons why I give you an example of Silicon Valley, San Francisco, for example. I give you an example of that. Why a lot of innovation happens over there, because it is not over governed. There's sometimes we are over governed. We have too many together, right? If subject matter expert, you're allowed to experiment, right? I think we also need to do that. Allow entrepreneurs and allow public forums and enterprise, allow for experimentation to take place within schools, right? Ms. Nasreen Sahiba has been doing that, right? Individually as well as in her school. There should be more of that in Pakistan, not less of that, right? It should be an open. It should also be an open forum. It should be an open architecture. And what we do at Hope Academy, we've launched Hope Academy in Pakistan. The first this month. And we've already within 2-3 weeks have registered 200 students, right, from different primary as well as secondary grades, right? And we've already started those classes, right? And parents are already very happy because of the quality of our teachers, right? Quality of the teachers is also important, not in terms of relevancy. If you remember our own teachers, I remember my teachers 3-4 decades older than we were, right? Sometimes generational gaps also are way too big. So we need to also bridge that gap as well. Younger population, younger generation, again, one of the members mentioned, they're born with digital skills. They're born with mobile phones and smartphones and laptops in their hands, right? So they know it. They don't need to be taught those skills, right? So they have the basic. They do not have those type of tools available. That is up to us, up to the government to provide the funding, up to the private development organizations around the world, Asian Development Bank, World Bank, IFCs of this world, USAID, who we have been. I mean, yes, they should also collaborate with us. Again, as part of the public-private forum. So all of these things need to be put together. And more has to be said and more has to be shown. For this to be relevant to Pakistan.
Yeah, Rafi Azam Sab, your take on this, especially when you are just facing these kind of, and we have to face an economic challenge at the same time. There's an opportunity waiting to happen. Yesterday we had a similar kind of conversation going on online about girls' education and how. And my question to the panel was similar, that these challenging times, this virus has actually given us an opportunity to revolutionize our education system as such, because those people who could not access, for example, people sitting there and somewhere across the world, they can now access. And your take on that also, sir, Rafi Adam sir, especially when you're heading a university.
JJ. So I think we have discussed a lot of the relevant points. Almost all the aspects have been covered. For a good way forward, we need to have a complete ecosystem. Focusing on one aspect of something doesn't work much. So we need to have a whole ecosystem in which the technology is promoted, in which the technology is trusted, and in which the technology is adopted. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest problem right now we are facing is the infrastructural problem. The IT infrastructure that we have is not a reliable infrastructure. Maybe 60% of your population, or even more of the population, is having troubles with the internet connectivity, and it's not fail-proof. Even in big cities, the internet connectivity is not fail-proof. You don't get the service that you are promised with. So you don't get the service that you are paying for. And then the second problem is the availability of devices to the students. Of course, many students come from many different backgrounds, and they have their own various economic problems and social problems. So they don't have the right devices available. So we need to make sure that we work on all the aspects of ecosystem, and we start benefiting from the technology that we have in hand. And we have done some experiments in the use of technology before COVID as well. For instance, even the schools that are in the primary schools that are located in small communities or far-flung areas, you don't get well-trained teachers for those students. And if you put up a technology-based network where you can place the teachers in maybe as an urban area, a set of trained teachers who access to the schools through the technology and teach the students through technology. Even we have tried some solutions for training of teachers in the rural areas through those technology networks. But again, the problem that we face again and again is the poor technology infrastructure. So I think the government should focus more on an enabling infrastructure that can promote the larger and wider adoption of technology across the board. And certainly we can benefit from it in many different ways. As Murtaza mentioned earlier, there is another aspect that many of the institutions, whether they are schools or colleges or universities, they are not technology equipped themselves. We still don't have student management systems at many of the universities. We don't have learning management systems at many of the universities. And we don't have faculty that is trained with the use of advanced technological tools that can enable them reach out to the students in more effective manner. So we need to work interconnected ecosystem that promotes and that enables all the aspects of use of technology. So I think this is a positive conversation, and we need to continue on this conversation. We need to bring in more stakeholders so that they can understand our point of view and we understand their point of view. And it can of course not act as an equalizer between the advantaged and disadvantaged. Broaden the scope and broaden the horizon of education to those communities and those individuals where we haven't reached through the traditional means. So this conversation needs to be expanded, should be brought into. Thank you.
Thank you so much. नसरीन साहिबा, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये होगा, जैसे कहा जाता है कि सबात एक तगय्युर को है ज़माने में, चेंज हमारे लिए हमेशा मुश्किल होता है, और ये जो चेंज नया आया है, this new change, we are unable to adopt right now, and rather than accepting this change, we are resisting this change. Somehow, many of the resistance that we are facing is from the education institutions, and how this change can be, adopted. How can we be able to move through and sail through better through all these challenges? We don't know that how this will be continue, kab ye khatam hoga, we don't know. However, what we can do is that we can adopt new challenges, adopt according to new challenges. Aapka kya khayal hai is baare mein? आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा अपने आप को. नसीन साहिबा, हम आपको सुन नहीं पा रहे हैं, आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
I think the host can also unmute her.
There must be a technical issue, no? Yes, I know there's a technical issue. I don't know.
I think she might be able to dial in again or something, disconnect and reconnect.
Nasreen Saiba, what you can do is that you can dial in again, and you can because we are unable to hear you. Anyway, Murtaza Saab, we are unable to hear you, Nasreen Saiba. This internet connection in Pakistan. So, oh, good. Now you.
I think that,
Yeah.
can
Oh,
you hear me
good.
now? Oh,
Better.
yes. Thank you,
Thank
Murtaza.
you.
Thank you. You were asking about the resistance by the educational institutions. Now, I'm talking about the schools. We all know that 70% of education provided in Pakistan is by the private sector because the public sector could not do it. So there, the vacuum was created and these people moved in. Whether they've got two-room schools or they're the huge elitist schools, it's a whole range. Even the two-room schools are at least providing literacy, and there are places where children can stay. I don't know how safe they are, but they can stay away, somewhat engaged for a certain length of time. So they're providing some service. Now, what's happening is that there is such, they are facing almost extinction. They will cease to exist because the children are not paying the fees. In the real lower, middle class, people have lost jobs, they've lost their work, and there's no fees. If there is no fees, how can they pay salaries and how can they keep the rentals? So what resistance is coming from them? I don't know. They are just not there. They are not managing to stand on their own 2 feet. And now recently too, because being in the private sector, I'm a member of all sorts of private school organizations, right from the elite to the all of them. Now, the middle slab of schools is suffering deeply because of the different decisions which do not somehow help education or help these schools to continue. So they are not resisting. It's just that they cannot even function. So this is the challenge which the schools are facing. Maybe you all are not aware of that, but that's what's happening. But what I feel is that where we were talking about Murtaza, and all of you, that you were talking about, infrastructure is not available for IT and so on. Of course, that is the case. But let us look at good practices wherever they are in very simple ways. Like I mentioned, it's now at least, I think, 9, 10 years ago that Dil started mobile learning. Now, what happens? There's a smartphone, one smartphone only in one school. It can be anywhere. And again, because of connectivity and the issues which we have in the net, they just have single solar power panel. It's just what's providing the energy for them. They just are able, they just need to charge their phones. And through that mobile phone and through those apps, they're able to get really provide quality training is provided to these teachers. Training along with all the other materials they need. They get lesson plans, they get activities, everything. How to engage the children in games, hands-on, this, that, and the other. Now, why don't we look at these? I'm just talking about one. Now, Teach for Pakistan. This organization is doing a tremendous job here in Pakistan now. They just started a few years ago, but we should look at good practices. And these should be made available on the net, so whoever and they should access this. They are very open, and because now recently I've started liaising with them, and I myself am going to suggest to them that we do it. Now, Murtaza, we have just about altogether maybe 1,500, 1,600 students now, and the number keeps dropping. However, we have a whole platform of schools with whom we work, right from Lawrence College, Goda Gully, these are the elite ones, the real famous ones, to the NGO schools. It's OPF, it's universities, they're all now part of our network. So we are networking with them, and what we are trying to push through is integrating values, integrating heritage integrating pride in their own country and ownership. Now, of course, technology is extremely important because this is what is needed. If you don't have the technological skills, you will not get the opportunities, and especially now in this COVID situation. It's actually going to give you the freedom to be able to engage and to be able to do so much just sitting at home. Even if maybe you're not earning, but you're contributing. And when you contribute positively and you're reaching out to others, it makes a lot of difference. Now, what in technology we don't remember is that there has to be that the life skills and the values have to be there, and compassion. Now, in the skills of 21st century, it's collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity. But we have to put in compassion, thinking of the other. The world as we see it today, it's because too much is in the hands of too few. No one thought of the other, and the other was really othered. I mean, imagine, look at where we are technologically. Look at where man has reached. But otherwise, we are worse than we were, I don't know, in the last few centuries. What Hitler was doing in those days, everybody decried. That's happening now. And to what avail? It's because we have forgotten education. And this is critically important. And if we can bring this into this IT, into this, the digital age, and make it a part of whatever we are teaching and learning, I think we will be able to make a little difference in the world.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Murtaza, floor is yours. While I'll be asking you the question of, especially HEC ने काफी सारे लैपटॉप स्कीम्स किए थे, जिसमें वो गैजेट्स दे रहे थे नए बच्चों को, और काफी सारा उन्होंने HEC ने जो है वो शेयर किया उस वक्त, और वो स्कीम जो है वो बड़ी अच्छी भी रही, कुछ क्रिटिसिज्म भी रहा उसमें. तो क्या हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन और हमारी जो एजुकेशन से रिलेटेड अथॉरिटीज हैं, स्पेशली इन दीज सर्कमस्टांसेस, चैलेंजिंग सर्कमस्टांसेस में, वो क्या ऐसे कोई स्टेप्स ले रही हैं कि वो गैजेट्स प्रोवाइड कर सकें, फॉर एग्जांपल लैपटॉप के जरिए, या जो स्मार्टफोन्स हैं, या कोई ऐसी जो डिवाइसेस हैं. और ये सिर्फ हायर एजुकेशन के हवाले से नहीं, ये ओवरऑल जो लेवल हैं, डिफरेंट लेवल्स हैं एजुकेशन के, उसके हवाले से भी मैं आपसे बात करना चाहूँगी और आपकी इनपुट भी लेना चाहूँगी, जहाँ पर अब वो जो बैलेंस हम बात कर रहे थे कि घर में सिर्फ एक शख्स के पास या लड़के के पास ही लैपटॉप होता है, या उसके पास ही डिवाइस होता है. सबसे अच्छा स्मार्टफोन भी माँ बाप उसको लेके देते हैं, और लड़कियां जो है वो अक्सर आपने देखा भी होगा कि बहुत उनके स्मार्टफोन तो होया करते हैं, लेकिन व्हाई नॉट वी यूज दो स्मार्टफोन्स एज लैपटॉप्स और उन्हीं को यूटिलाइज किया जाए कुछ इस तरह से. क्या ऐसी कोई स्कीम्स गवर्नमेंट सोच रही है, या हायर एजुकेशन के जो इदारे हैं, और क्या इनपुट देखा जा सकता है फ्यूचर में, लड़कियां किस तरह टेक्नोलॉजी को यूटिलाइज बात कर रहे हैं. हो सकता है उमर साहब और मेरे पैनलिस्ट से भी नेक्स्ट कॉन्वर्सेशन शायद हम इफेक्टिव यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी में करें कि कैसे टेक्नोलॉजी को बेहतर तरीके से यूज किया जा सकता है. मुर्तज़ा, आपका इनपुट चाहिए.
जी, आवाज आ रही है आपको? आवाज आ रही है आपको?
Yes, I can hear you, Murtaza. It's okay.
अच्छा,
I'm hearing you.
Sorry. अच्छा, आज ही पूरे पाकिस्तान में स्टूडेंट्स की तरफ से एक प्रोटेस्ट हो रहे हैं, HEC के सामने भी हुआ है, और इश्यूज जो मेनली वो यही आ रहे हैं जो अभी आप इंडिकेट भी किया है कि डिवाइसेस भी नहीं है स्टूडेंट्स के पास. हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन ने कुछ दिन पहले अनाउंस तो किया था मेरे ख्याल में, लेकिन अभी तक वो उसके ऊपर कोई यानी कि आई थिंक सो वो इनिशियल प्लानिंग स्टेज में है. और ये देखिए, ये ऑल ऑफ सडन जो एपिडेमिक का हमारे पास आया है, इससे पहले भी ऑनलाइन का तो हमारे पास अरेंजमेंट्स होने चाहिए थे, लेकिन इट विल टेक अ टाइम. ये एक ग्रेजुअल थिंग नहीं है, क्योंकि फैकल्टी की ट्रेनिंग करवाना, फिर स्टूडेंट्स को भी हम मेंटली तौर पे प्रिपेयर कर रहे होते हैं. वो कहते हैं जी हमारे पास डिप्रेशन इतना है कि हम दूर दराज इलाकों में, हमारे पेरेंट्स घर में बैठे हुए हैं, दे कांट अर्न एनीथिंग. तो डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, सोशल भी आ रहे हैं, इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम्स भी आ रहे हैं, फिर उनके ये मेंटल इश्यूज, मेंटल हेल्थ के भी इश्यूज काफ़ी आ रहे हैं. So these are really, you can say, main difficulties which are being faced by every Pakistani nowadays, whether they are students, whether they are parents. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा यानी एक इशू आ रहा है. लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम जैसे रोफी आजम साहब ने बात की है कि व्हाट इज वे फॉरवर्ड. वे फॉरवर्ड देखिए, इस कोविड-19 ने has provided us opportunity to come to closer to one another. Let's collaborate, let's learn from one another experiences. जहाँ पे किसी की डेफिशिएंसी है या किसी जो को वो उसकी प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, तो he or she be, you can say, helped by others who have ability to, they can extend any sort of cooperation, assistance, technical assistance, any sort of assistance which is easily available. तो हमें एक दूसरे की प्रैक्टिसेस से भी सीखना है, और इसी तरीके से हमें वी वुड हैव टू मेक, क्योंकि ये कोविड देखिए यूनिवर्सिटीज में इस वक्त जो बात हो रही है, ऑक्सफोर्ड, कैम्ब्रिज, बड़ी बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटीज ऑन कैंपस जो क्लासेस की बात कर रही है वो 2022 की बात हो रही है, 2023 की बात हो रही है. तो नाउ इट वुड बी एसेंशियल फॉर अस कि हमें यही मीडियम हमारे पास रहेगा जब तक इसकी कोई वैक्सीनेशन नहीं आती, कोई प्रॉपर्ली क्योर नहीं हो जाता. तो हमें इन्हीं हालात में सरवाइव करना पड़ेगा. और ख़ास तौर पे जो हमें वी वुड हैव टू फोकस ओवर द आर फीमेल स्टूडेंट्स. देखिए, जो एक फीमेल स्टूडेंट का जो केस होता है वो बड़ा डिफरेंट होता है. जब वो हायर एजुकेशन के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी यानी कि वो क्लास में किसी यूनिवर्सिटी में एडमिशन लेती है, ये वो लेती है, वो शी हैज़ टू फाइट विद डिफरेंट ऑन द डिफरेंट फ्रंट्स. उसने अपने पेरेंट्स को भी परसू करना होता है, उसको भी भाई को भी करना होता है, और देन शी गेट्स अपॉर्चुनिटी कि भाई मैं हायर एजुकेशन की तरफ जाऊं. और अगर हम उनको ये नहीं करेंगे तो ये बच्चियां जो है, हम बहुत सी बच्चियां मजीद महरूम रह जाएंगी कि वो उनका केस वीक हो जाएगा, कि वो कहेंगे आपके पास तो अब पढ़ने की जरूरत ही क्या, आप कौन सा कोई यूनिवर्सिटी हो रही है, आप कौन सी कोई क्लासेस हो रही हैं. तो वी वुड हैव टू इंगेज देम. खास तौर पे हमारी जो फीस, वहाँ पे हम उनको इस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटीज ज़्यादा प्रोवाइड करें. और जो फैसिलिटीज़ हैं, कनेक्टिविटी का इशू है, वो तो गवर्नमेंट अगर चाहे तो वो इजीली हल हो सकता है. डिवाइसेस जो है वो भी आप HEC ने ऐलान किया है, लेकिन इसके अलावा जो हमारी दूसरी जो हमारी मुख्तलिफ जो कंपनीज हैं सेल फोन की, वो भी कोई पैकेजेस ऐसे अनाउंस कर सकती हैं. स्टूडेंट पैकेज अनाउंस किए जा सकता है विच कैन बी वेरी वेरी, यू कैन से, चीप. और वो ज़ाहिर है कि हमें हर सेक्टर को इस कोविड-19 के हालात के मद्देनजर रखते हुए अपना रोल प्ले करना है. और दे वुड हैव टू एक्सटेंड एवरी सॉर्ट ऑफ हेल्प. तो जो हमारी मुख्तलिफ जो कंपनीज हैं, जो सेल फोन कंपनीज हैं, दे कैन आल्सो प्रोवाइड सम सॉर्ट ऑफ स्पेशल पैकेजेस, जिससे ये स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं, और वो उसके लिए ये भी ज़रूरी नहीं है जैसे बात की जा रही है कि हम लैपटॉप लें. वी कैन इफेक्टिवली यूज द आर मोबाइल्स का भी. अब मैं आपसे साथ जो बात कर रहा हूँ, तो मोबाइल्स का हम जितना मैक्सिमम अच्छा इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, तो वो मोबाइल की भी हम इफेक्टिव यूटिलाइजेशन करें, क्योंकि वो तो हर बच्चे और बच्ची के पास है. और कनेक्टिविटी के इशू को और जो लेटेस्ट सपोर्ट है उसको हम इंश्योर कर सकते हैं.
Thank you so much, Murtaza. With this positive note, thank you so much, Murtaza, for. I mean, these are important conversations that we need to build on. हमें ये जो गुफ्तगू है, ये conversation है, ये जारी रखनी पड़ेगी. और मेरा नहीं ख्याल कि हम कोई एक पैनल पे इस सारी जो important conversation है उसको ख़त्म कर पाएंगे. और अच्छा है कि ये ऐसी conversations या ऐसी गुफ्तगू और ऐसी बातचीत जो है वो जारी रहे, ताकि हम ना सिर्फ एक दूसरे के एक्सपीरियंसेस से सीख सकें, बल्कि मुर्तज़ा कह रहे थे कि एक दूसरे से जो है वो हेल्प एक दूसरे के ले सकें, एक दूसरे के बाजू बन सकें. तो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, मैं आपसे शेयर करना चाहूँगी कि इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ पीस एंड डिप्लोमेटिक स्टडीज़ ने कोडेड माइंड ग्लोबल के साथ पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट साइन किया है. और हम बिल्कुल सून हम जो है जल्दी में एक अच्छा कोर्सेज, कुछ ज़बरदस्त किस्म के कोर्सेज जो है वो लॉन्च कर रहे हैं. कंबाइन इकट्ठे मिलकर हम पाकिस्तान को कुछ ज़बरदस्त किस्म की चीज़ें और हमारी यूथ जो है, और स्पेशली जो गर्ल्स हैं हमारी, उनके लिए हम कुछ कोर्सेज लेके आएंगे. ऐसे यूनिक कोर्सेज हैं जो कि फारूकी साहब विल बी शेयरिंग विद अस एज वेल. मैं चाहूँगी कि थोड़ा सा अगर आप उसको भी मेंशन करें फारूकी साहब, ताकि लोगों को मालूम हो कि हम किस तरह के वो कोर्सेज होंगे और वो उसकी कितनी इंपॉर्टेंस और सिग्निफिकेंस होगी. एंड देन आफ्टर योर इनपुट विल कॉल दिस अ डे. Faruqi sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, first I just want to say, KB, all the panelists have done an amazing job and have, been very relevant towards what they have said, and all the relevant topics have been covered. One of the things, जो कि मैं कहना I think it wraps this whole thing in a nutshell, is कि it is important कि हम see technology जो है सिर्फ tool है. It is not the end game, right? हम लोग दुनिया में technology ऐसे करते हैं जैसे कि once we have the technology it will be all over, things will be great. That's not what it is, right? We must use technology as a tool, which means कि we have to achieve a balance, a blended learning aspect. जाके आप फिजिकलिटी ऑफ क्लासरूम भी ना जाए, जो कि इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस के लिए बहुत जरूरी है. And then there's also the use of technology which penetrates in areas where perhaps it has not been possible before. And जैसे जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी बढ़ेगी penetration ज़्यादा होती जाएगी, right? And absolutely जो मुर्तजा साहब ने कहा था कि you don't need smartphones only, use what you have today also, and इसको तो उसमें as far as courses are concerned, as I mentioned before, teacher skills, giving them the relevant skills to teach is super important. So one of the courses जो हम लाएंगे inshallah, maybe with your collaboration as well, is actually teacher training, the actual 21st century टीचर ट्रेनिंग स्किल्स कोर्स, जो कि बहुत जरूरी है, बहुत रेलिवेंट है. अपस्किलिंग द टीचर ऑफ टुडे इन द क्लासरूम ऑफ टुडे इज सुपर इम्पोर्टेंट, राइट? ताकि वो रेलिवेंट तरीके से पढ़ा सके. ये एक बात है. उसके बाद द एक्चुअल स्किल्स इटसेल्फ, द एक्चुअल टेक्नोलॉजी स्किल्स, द कोडिंग स्किल्स, द रोबोटिक स्किल्स, द ICT tech skills, all of this must be taught as well. It should be taught to everyone. Then there's also creativity and leadership skills. ये भी बहुत important है. Creativity and leadership, not just for adults, even for the younger generation. Already उनको आप सिखाएं creative होना, creative कैसे सोचते हैं. All of these are super important, and these are some of the courses जो कि हम inshallah we will bring in Pakistan. We already are bringing in Pakistan. We'll bring even more in Pakistan very soon. So inshallah this will be done soon.
This will be a productive collaboration, inshallah. Thank you so much. I'm so honored that today on this conversation that we were having on boosting girls' education in Pakistan using technology, I was honored to have collaboration with Coded Mind Global. And Umar Faruqi Saab, who is the CEO and founder of Coded Mind Global and Hope Academy Global, was here. Thank you so much for your presence. Professor Dr. Rafi Azam Saab, who is the Pro-Rector, University of Lahore, and former Vice Chancellor, University of Education Lahore, was also here. Thank you so much for your kind presence and, of course, input. And I hope that I echo what you said, is that we will continue our conversation. We will not stop here. We will continue our conversations like these. हम गुफ्तगू का सिलसिला ये जारी रखेंगे और इंशाल्लाह बहुत से डिफरेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स को भी बुलाएंगे, इंक्लूडिंग टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट्स जो हैं, जो सेलुलर कंपनीज हैं और डिफरेंट गवर्नमेंट के लेवल के लोग हैं, उनको हम इन कॉन्वर्सेशन में ज़रूर शामिल करेंगे और कैसे हम ख़वातीन का जो एजुकेशन का मयार है और उनकी एक्सेस है उसको कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं. आई एम सो ग्रेटफुल एंड ऑनर्ड दैट यू हैव जॉइंड अस. नसरीन इकबाल साहिबा, थैंक यू सो मच अगेन. आपकी मोहब्बत और प्यार. एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर थी हैं ग्रामर स्कूल रावलपिंडी, सेंटर फॉर पीस एंड एजुकेशन फॉर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट. ऑफ कोर्स आप इंटरनेशनल मास्टर ट्रेनर भी हैं. आपका इंसाइटफुल जो कॉन्वर्सेशन और गुफ्तगू रही, बहुत शुक्रिया. आपने कंपैशन, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग स्किल्स, क्रिएटिविटी, इन सब को एक जगह शामिल किया है और आपका कहना यही है कि और आपकी गाइडेंस भी हमें चाहिए होगी जब हम इस सफ़र पे जारी रहेंगे. और हमारा आपका बिल्कुल हम आपकी बात से बिल्कुल एग्री भी करते हैं कि हमें जो है अपनी वैल्यूज़ को अपनी इंटीग्रेट करना पड़ेगा और जहाँ वैल्यूज इंटीग्रेट करनी पड़ेंगी टेक्नोलॉजी के जरिए हम वो एक्सेस सबके साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं. मुर्तज़ा नूर साहब जो कि नेशनल कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं इंटर यूनिवर्सिटी कंसोर्शियम फॉर पाकिस्तान के, जो कि अलायंस है 60 यूनिवर्सिटी के क्रॉस पाकिस्तान, और कंट्री कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं ग्लोबल एकेडमिक्स लीडरशिप एकेडमी पाकिस्तान की. थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस एज वेल फ्रॉम नॉर्थ साइड ऑफ द पंजाब. और जैसे हम बात कर रहे थे کہ یہ جو چیلنجز ہیں یہ ایگزسٹ تو کرتے ہیں ہمارے سامنے اور ہوتے بھی ہیں، لیکن سب کبھی کبھار ہم ان سے اپنی نظریں چرا لیتے ہیں اور ہمیں یہ لگتا ہے کہ شاید یہ تو ایسا نہیں ہے۔ کووڈ 19